Well, hello and good evening. You're very welcome to What is this? What is this, you might ask? Well, this is TTML Club, a 6-week running competition to help bridge the gap between F1 2021 and F1 22. The rules, we'll go over this very quickly. Short qualifying, 50% race, assists allowed, custom cars, custom teams, and standard TTML points system. So, to start off, we'll be starting here at the Temple of Speed for the Italian Grand Prix at Monza. My name is Graham, and joining me tonight to help me through this action, this rapid action, it is Conti. Hello, sir.
Hello, sir. Well, thanks for having me again, our second time together, and I must say I enjoyed the first time, so I'm expecting nothing less today. And I must say, to bridge the gap to the new game, I think it's a fun idea, this one.
Yeah, absolutely. I always like the kind of the creative kind of competitions that you can come up with between games, because you do reach a point where you're kind of done in many ways. You're kind of done with the regular season, so to speak. Your Mercedes, and it's just time to have fun. Trying to have a bit of fun before the new game. So I'm excited. I know there's only 12 drivers here, but hey, like, you can have a good race, with 10 drivers if the action's close enough, and I don't think there's any reason to think it might not be.
Yeah, I mean, if everyone gives it his all, and racing is clean, hard, but fair, you can have a good race with 8 people. But yeah, we have 12, and shall I take us through the teams, because this is something entirely new. As you said, no Mercedes, no Red Bull, no nothing. We have custom teams, and starting off, we have Funky Chicken and TTG Kermit in X Esports, and they will be driving in a red livery. Then we have Neymarmich and Speed JXSH. I'm just gonna cut that down to Speed.
Hmm.
They are will be driving in LH Esports, and LH, no misunderstanding there, will be short for Lewis Hamilton, and they will be driving a yellow car. Then we have It's Jamie and NSR Legend with Washed Esports in a turquoise and black car. Yeah, you can see, you can already see some nice names here.
I like that one a lot.
All the way. Then we have This Vessel and Big Malagers in Full Throttle Racing, or FTR Esport. They will be driving around in a black and red livery. Next up, Yogi and Tam with Full Course Caution. I hope we won't be
Nice.
seeing that here today. Colors, not sure, because they're still in
Looks like the
shadows.
Golf. Looks like the Golf style livery.
Ah, nice. Then we have Mission 44. Well, I think that's a Hamilton as well, in purple and black livery. It's IRT Tom and JT Gelato. And then finally up, FRL Charlie and EKG Storm Kings in Fantari Racing Esports in purple and blue livery.
Some nice liveries out there, to be fair. As you kind of flick through them, is there one that comes to mind that you liking already?
Well, let me quickly check. I really like the livery of Big Malaga. That looks pretty cool. I know it's a stock livery, but still, I think it's cool. But on the more creative side, I actually really like the color composition of FRL Charlie. What's your favorite today?
The purple one is quite nice here. It's right with FRL Charles coming up towards Ascari. I'm trying to cycle through to a broadcast angle, but it's just that I'm just stuck in the cockpit essentially. It's that low riding one. There we go. Really liking that kind of the purple, the kind of Cosmos livery for sure. To be honest, I do like the kind of black and teal here that have Legende and Jamie have. By the way, Neymar make is on 20.1, so that's our standing time so far here as we go through the motions here. Charlie 21.1 on the mediums, a little bit split already, and Melliker's then 20.9. With only 12 people, you'd imagine that we'll see some people start on mediums, just because they can.
Yeah.
I know it's technically cheating, but I do like that white Red Bull.
Yeah, yeah, it's a great livery. And I'm just spotting Tam, who tried to recreate the McLaren livery of, I believe it was Monaco last year, with the lighter blue and orange.
Oh, he's got no front wing. He's had an accident somewhere. He's gone through the curve at Alboreto and he's got no front wing. So I'm not sure what happened to him. But anyways, we've got another wing off. Melliker's is lost to coming out of Del Rogier, so there's another front wing gone. So there could be a few people trying no assist here, so that you could see a few more mistakes than normal. This is a good chance to if you want to learn no line or no traction or no ABS, then the gap between games. I'm always skeptical about that because the new game comes out and no traction, for example, might be very different here than it is in F1 22. But generally speaking, people usually can you see a few drivers use this opportunity to try something new, something different at least.
Yeah, just see if it fits them. I mean, I did it a couple of games as well, that every new game at the end of a cycle I turned off a assist. And as you said, most of the time the handling model is completely different, but at least you get a taste of it, especially when you're going without traction control or without line. I mean, without line, doesn't matter what the handling model is. It's fun. So, but I think it starts as fun. I mean, it's meant to start as a fun league with 6 races to get to the new game. But I know a couple of these drivers, and I'm sure they will get competitive after one or two races. Definitely.
It's not something you really turn off. Like, you might invest a little less in terms of, you might not be as mad as Jamie goes 30 with a 20.6. You might not get as mad if one of these races doesn't go to plan. They are supposed to be more on the fun side, but I mean, look, you put drivers wheel to wheel, no matter what the situation is, and they're going to want a piece of action. So, and look, there are the numbers being as they are. Like, I think everyone's kind of heading into this with kind of something like that in mind. You mentioned the 6 weeks here, so I'll just run through the calendar very quickly here. So Monza is we're starting off tonight. This is on 8 p.m. every Monday for the next 6 weeks. Brazil is round 2. You have Austria round 3, Singapore round 4, Bahrain round 5, and finishing off at Silverstone at June 20th. That is a trip and a half for Yogi. He's clattered the curves of the Del Rogier chicane, and he's gone a second lap for him on the softs. So I don't know how. Well, obviously would have been an improvement to be had on the 22.8, but look, I suppose if there's a run to ruin, then may as well do it on a scrub set.
Yeah, definitely. And Speed just came in with a 120.1, just in front of his teammate Neymar. And so far, this vessel still in first place with a almost a 120 flat.
Yeah, just about. I definitely think we'll see someone sneak into the 19s for sure. Neymar's got a quick time in him, I know he has. He's on track at the moment. A lot of people are out on their kind of second runs or out laps on second runs, so I'd imagine they're all on softs now, so anyone who was warming up on the set of mediums have ditched those. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw one or two drivers go for a set of mediums towards the end. But the thing with a set of mediums is, was the yellow flag in sector 2, and that's Speed just backing off there. The thing with a set of mediums here, especially a track like this, is you start on mediums, safety car comes out at the wrong time, you're completely hosed, and whereas someone else can do, the guys on softs can just switch to mediums and go to the end from there, unless you want to go with the hards, which is have fun using that tyre around here. You're kind of in a rough spot, so I think it's just safe to especially look if you're outside the top 10, you're only 1-2 places off anyway, may as well start on a set of softs, and at least if safety car comes into play, then you're not completely out of the race, where if it does come out, it's going to be without another safety car, at least it's going to be tough to get back in.
Yeah, definitely. That's one, and well, around this track, I mean, it's not that high demanding on your tires, so the mediums go a really, really long way. And as you said, hards not necessary to go on those tires, as I'm on board with Neymar and he sets a purple sector 1, so he's, I think, one of the first if he doesn't make a mistake. Oh, and he does make a mistake.
Yeah, there you go.
To go into the 119s, but it's a the commentator's curse for you there.
He's pushing hard. Like you see the back end swiggle coming out of the first Lesmo. He was pushing and then just pushed it a little bit too far. But he was carrying a lot of speed. So there's definitely a 19 in here somewhere for sure. IRT Tom apparently just done the fastest sector 1. But again, how much do I trust this game? No. So there's a car going close. Where's FRL? There's FRL Charlie. 21.1 for him in 8th place. See if he can bump himself up the field, and decides to pull into the pits. So no improvement to be had there. Neymar will try again. Melikers stays on his lap, so let's see if this is an improvement. Aha, 19.8. There we go. I expect this will fall thick and fast. We'll see how low they get, but 19.8 for Melikers puts him into provisional pole position.
Yeah, some great time there from Meliger. And Neymar, first corner, first chicane, a little bit deep going in, so not sure what his time will be. He's 100 up on his time, so oof, there was a big hump there.
Oh, it's painful, isn't it? It's painful to watch.
Yeah. It is. It's really painful for your bottom, your lower back, everything if you're in that car.
I think they're running very close. These two on track is like Speed and Neymar. So I haven't seen it, but I do wonder if they'll do the slipstreaming game. I have no reason to think they won't. Jamie coming through on his outlap as well. And look, it's obviously there's a lot to gain here if you do it right. The good old slipstreaming here.
Yeah, especially on the second part. I mean, the first part is really long, but I always find it beneficial to do it on the second straight. But I don't think they are gonna be slipstreaming here, or are they? No, Neymar's coming in.
Odd. I actually just look on board this vessel here and picked up a little bit of a tow himself from I can't remember which car it was, but 19.9. He got picked up a little bit of a tow coming out of the of Scary there, but yeah, not enough to get him on pole position. But lap times dropping once again. Who's on a flying lap? Yogi's still out on those tires, 5 laps old. And he is 10th, so he would have to start on those.
Yeah, I think he didn't have any practice, so this is just his practice run.
Hey, he's coming to the box.
And Wessel, I think this was his last lap because he is out of fuel now. I'm not sure if he's gonna be having enough time, or is he out of fuel? No,
it seems like he could be close. I should have enough time though. This track is not too long, and we've got about 5 minutes left, so it should be enough time for. In fact, if anyone was on it, I think everyone can get back in again and back out. Going on board Speed here in the very brightly coloured car they're running around Curve Amaretto, not Parabolica, which I always forget these days. And he's coming to the box as well. So both of those guys bailed or decided to pit from their laps. Someone just come across line. Gelato, 6th place for him, 20.2, and that's on. I was on after. He'd done an early lap on those softs as well. So yeah, I think there's enough time to get back in. If you got enough fuel, that is, to get around a somewhat brisk pace. Should be enough time. The forever yellow flags will prevent us from actually seeing how long is left. But one day they will disappear.
Yeah, next game.
4 minutes. Yeah, plenty of time.
Yeah, plenty of time to go back. And I'm wondering if we're gonna be seeing Legenda out.
Oh,
he's the only one. Ooh, what happened to Charlie?
Yeah, he was going through Ascari and got on the. Oops, I pressed L2 by accident. He got on the curbing at Ascari and just unsettled the car, and into the barrier he went. He was going quite quickly as well. Apparently, he'd done a purple sector too, but yeah, those curbs on the we're looking at Jamie here now, and he almost had the same thing, managed to catch it, but You know, they really do disrupt the car, especially at that kind of speed. And for Charlie, that is going to be it. So he'll be no higher than ninth place starting out this one.
But yeah, Legenda, not having set a time yet as the only one, so curious to see if he's coming out and if what time he can do.
Yeah, just 3 minutes 45 seconds left. Gosh, a few good ones. You got Kermit and Tam on out laps here. I do wonder if he's just maybe if he's not coming out, maybe he's just content to start where he is at the back. It's do you know what, for Monza, not the worst place in the world to be.
As long as you're in the slipstream and DRS train, you're not. But well, if you're out of that, you're in big trouble.
For the good old race, for the race start at least, I don't think it's the worst place to be.
Yeah, no, it isn't.
If there, turn one here, lap one. Generally speaking, you know it's very possible to have a few late breakers and definitely a few hiccups. We've seen our fair share, I'm sure. So you never know. Either you want to be near the front or towards the back is not the worst place here. Lap one, see what happens. Going to follow Tam on his on board on this flying lap. He's the first one to kind of get going here towards the end here. Kind of misses the apex slightly. You could take a bit more curb there on turn one and stay nice and tight to the right hand side here through Curva Grande. Minimise the distance covered. And get yourself set then for De La Roche chicane. Mind the bumps, mind the curbs. You want to take a little bit, but not too much. And that's a nice, tidy De La Roche chicane. Of course, maybe a bit more on the table if you want to leather it. And pushing all the way. You can see the car want to step out there through the first Lesmo. Has the second one. Much more under control and in bounds. So see if he's improving on his time as he heads up towards a Ascari car in front. Gets out of the way. That would be Yogi, his teammate. Again, not sure why they didn't do some slipstream there, but nice clean entry to Ascari. Nice clean entry. Fighting the car though on the exit, and he's going to keep himself out of the barrier. It's going to be a valid lap still, but you'd have to imagine any time that he may have been up is certainly out the window now.
Yeah, definitely. He just was too eager going through there, and I think it cost him his lap. Yeah, he's going in.
And that's it. So. Yeah, so that will be it. He'll start no higher than third. Without not enough time yet. Legenda is out on track now, so just one run to the end. Kermit comes across the line, 21.7. Does improve his time, but doesn't improve his position, so he still sits P11. Strategic pole position, perhaps.
Oh yeah, that's it. Legenda out. Big mistake going on the curb there and lost his backhand going into the wall.
That's the risk you run if you don't set a lap time. See if we can pick him up here with Yogi, where he ended up. Ah, yes. Tank slapper. And you never quite know if it's a ghost. Yogi not taking any chances. Wow, Neymar's already invalidated his lap.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, he invalidated going through the last corner on his out lap.
Oh, this and next.
Yeah.
That's a rough one. Who's on a lap that's actually going to complete one? I think actually Duvessel is on a flying lap and will complete it. Checker flag I don't think is out yet. It's going to be close. 19.6. That
nice.
Is good enough for pole position at the moment by a couple of tenths. He's not going to go for another run, so that's going to be it. He doesn't have the ERS to do so. Oh, and Melliger's just picked it up, crashed at Ascari, so he won't be improving. Where does that leave? Yogi goes up to 9th place, 20.9. Kermit's going to go for a back-to-back lap. He improves his time, but not his position. Jamie's validated his. Neymar we know invalidated his. So next up is going to be speed, and the checker flag is now out.
So, I was on board with Tom, and he made not a big mistake, but almost lost the backhand. He was able to catch his car, but I think it cost him a bit of time. Still, he's 0.2 of a second up.
Speed coming through Curva Alboreto. Not many improvements to be had here in this final run, but he does, and just about a 20 flat. Moves up to P3, so good gains for him. You were mentioning Tom earlier. Oh, I thought I thought that would be invalid, to be fair. He's just about kept it in. And he moves up a place. He moves up into P7, 20.3. That is taking the extremities of trying to keep it close by Gelato, but he's coming into the pits, which should just leave Yogi as our
Yeah.
last driver to complete a lap, or rather a back-to-back lap in this case. See if he's got any more in the tank. And he's just run out of fuel at the end. Oh
Oh,
dear, that's a shame. 21.2. I reckon that could have been close, you know. I reckon that would have been close in improvement, but he stays ninth, and his best time was done on that, so he doesn't have to start on those 5 lap hold tyres. But there you go. That is qualifying, and it is Duvessel on pole position.
with Gallagher in second place and Speed in third.
So quite a lot of drivers making mistakes towards well, on their last lap there, got a couple of Ascari casualties, and you know, as there tends to be these days.
Yeah, well, I must say, Ascari is really tricky. If you really just take it perfectly, it's, I think, one of the best feelings in the world going through Ascari. But if you're a centimeter off or even less than that, well, we saw it today as well. You got grabbed by the curb and you're just out of control of your car.
Yeah, it's definitely like, especially with those curbs going in there on the right hand side, you can't just, you know, you have to really tread that through. But it's very satisfying, but it's also a corner that you kind of, I don't want to say afraid of, but you know, you do have to be very careful through there, because you know that you mess up through that part, and
You're done.
you really, like, unless you, I mean, we saw actually, oh, I forget already who it was that got away with it there at the end. Uh,
I believe it was Jamie.
yeah, I think you're right, but you know, so that was a lucky escape, but more often than not, it does go end up going the other way. So to finish qualifying, we've got Dus Vessel on pole position, Head Mellikers in second, and Speed running at the top three. Tam in fourth, Neymar fifth, Gelato in sixth, Tom seventh, Jamie eighth, Yogi ninth, and Charlie on the mediums running at the top 10. So a bit of variety there. And you got Kermit and Legende outside the top 10, who'll be free to choose their own tyres.
Yeah, and just to come back about your on your Ascari story, I definitely am scared of Ascari.
Like, yeah, it is one of those corners that there's a few corners that are like that. That's definitely one of them. I remember actually, uh, it was F1 2018. I had a retirement there coming out of Ascari. Before, this was before the curbing, and it just puts you in a sense of shock, you know, like, oh, good
Ooh, it's
grief.
raining.
Oh,
Oh,
jeez.
this is gonna be especially scary.
Oh, maybe the lower speed might actually help, but traction zones are going to be fun. Delarage is going to be fun in these conditions. As is actually,
Yeah,
do you know what? Coming out of even the first chicane here, turn one and
yeah.
turn, and through the Curva Grande, you're going to see some bravery. I think it is it's a ballsy one to hold the inside, and how much throttle can you maintain as you try and stick tight through Curva Grande, especially if you're fighting another car. Uh, well, okay, that changes things a little bit. So.
Ooh, this is gonna be really, really scary. I think Legenda did the right thing to start from the back because turn one in these conditions, I mean, it's rather scary in dry conditions, but in this condition, well, it's really easy to miss your braking point and well, just you've got some kind of harmonica effect after that.
Full wets, and oh dear, no
Yeah.
tire warm up for Legenda. That's gonna be rough. He's gonna need this. You might be he's gonna be happy in the back, I reckon. After that, uh, doesn't seem to be a lot of spray being kicked up. So I do wonder how long we might see these wet conditions last. It doesn't look too bad, to be fair.
No, it doesn't. I mean, you can see it on board with Neymar. He's not that far behind Tam, and there's almost no spray.
Yeah, so wouldn't surprise me if you saw a quick shift here. And as always, the timing with these things will be fascinating. Who makes that first jump? Heck, you know what? Even not, I don't really like bringing up real life racing in these just because they're very different things. But I watched a great race over the weekend in IndyCar where the race win was decided by that judgment in crossover points, and especially if you're in a train here, which is very possible here at Monza. Even
Yeah,
even without DRS here, that timing as to who if we do shift to inters. That timing always is can gain you a lot of time. Can also lose you a lot of time. But if you get that call right, there's plenty of positions to be made, especially if you want to take a risk in the midfield here, so to speak.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we saw that last season in Russia,
Hmm.
when it started raining at the end of the race, that some guys going in earlier to go on the inters or wets gained a massive amount of positions, and yeah, then the sad story of Lando Norris, who thought he could finish the race, but well, lost a lot of positions.
Yeah, it just shows you the extremity of what happens when you get it wrong. Anywho, we'll see how if that becomes relevant. I'm going to go on board with speed here to start. Get a nice view of how the top two launch off the line. Start obviously going to be key, especially with such a long run down to turn one, especially in the wet. Who's got the better launch in these conditions will be a key. Right, I can't see the lights, but there they are. 3, 4, and 5 red lights. And away we go. That's a good start for speed. He's going to get Mellikers immediately. And he's going to have to race the line. Oh, a second phase though. Back end desperate to get away. And Tam is going to be challenging into turn one. He's already past speed, already past Mellikers. And when he's gone too hot. He's gone far too hot and makes
Ooh.
contact with Dust Vessel. And I don't know what the extremity of the wing damage may be, but that was big contact. He came in far too hot. And after all that, Mellikers is going to storm into the lead here. And Gelato already up to P2.
Yeah, and look at Tam driving around at the back now. Speed and Neymar had a issue as well, and I think Speed has some sort of wing damage because he's losing out multiple positions now, side by side with Charlie, I believe here. Ooh, lost it on the exit there, and now immediately under attack of it's Jamie and Legenda there. Legenda, I must say, in 6th position now after starting in 12th, so a great start from Legenda.
And no warm up for the tyres as well. Jamie was unlucky there. He's got pinched to the inside there with speed, kind of struggling with traction, and that allowed Legenda to sweep through. So 3 wide there, but good racing to be had there. Yogi on the back of Tom here as well. So the field will kind of just settle into things here. We'll see who's got damage and see if anyone pits at the end of the first lap. But Melliker's then making the jump into P1.
Who was that? Speed. Yeah, Speed's out of the race. I just saw him drifting out of the corner there. Well, going into the wall, and that's another victim to a scan.
VSC is deployed. I wonder if anyone will take the opportunity to. Well, it's good. It's a great chance for some people who may have damaged the pit, but no one's coming in to change their tyres. And this vessel is in, so I'd imagine wing damage was had there. That's a shame. Nothing he did wrong really. He just took his line, and Tam just came in far too hot. And Tam stays out though, so that's going to only add insult to injury when he's the only one that's pitted here for repairs.
Yeah, it is, and now it's a point because he's quite far behind now. Um, well, the point now is to be strong mentally as well, to just keep your head down and come back to the race, because my instinct and feeling says there's going to be a safety car here. So this vessel keep on going, and I think you're going to be back in this.
It's a long race and it can be lonely, but it's just you stick it out, and you never know what quite will happen later on. I'm sure there could be both races where it's been done after lap 1 or so, but you keep going for the hope that something may pop off, and you never know.
Ooh, Legenda's out as
Legenda's
well.
out. Oh, he's crashed coming out of that's actually the second Lesmo.
Yeah.
See if the safety car comes out for that, but good start from Legenda, and sadly now that is out of the equation then, so that's a shame. Have made up some strong places, but again, traction zone, especially in the wet here. Monza, when it becomes wet here, the traction zone here, the difficulty just really does ramp up.
Yeah, it does, and especially, well, I think the first chicane is really difficult because you're going through that one really slow, as well, everybody is throwing up fast laps now. So yeah, really difficult, but as well the medium speed corners as well. I mean, in these weather conditions, it's difficult to get your setup right, and snap overstay could just happen on you.
Definitely. In fact, the one corner is probably made easier in the wet is Ascari, funnily enough, just because you're taking that at a much slower speed now. You kind of thread it a little bit more easily through there. You don't have to chuck it in like you would in the dry. So, but the trade-off is that basically everywhere else is now more difficult.
Yeah.
Like coming out of the Retafilo, Del Rogier, second Lesmo. Uh, first one to be fair, you can to an extent, but
Yeah, first one's okay, but the second one you always go on the curb, and that one is can be tricky on traction in these conditions.
ooh, and Neymar just showing that right there, a bit of a snap for him. Wanted to get a nice run onto this back straight here, and just the back end was having none of it. So Charlie closes up the gap a little bit now to Neymar as a result. No DRS, of course, in these conditions. That would be madness. But so there's gaps in the wet. They can spread a bit, and there's a 4.5 second gap between Charlie and Jamie. But behind Jamie there is Tom. There's Yogi, and Kermit's not too far away in these conditions either. I tell you, no assists in these conditions. Uh, it'd be easy to turn them back on, but fair play for sticking through it.
Oh, as Gelato sets the fastest lap now so slowly. Gelato seems to be really fast in the last part of the track, but always in the first half he loses time to Malaga there. So yeah, if Malaga can keep this up, and just as I say that, he has a great exit and wins well, just basically 3 tenths there on one corner around. Ooh,
The
Yogi.
yellow flag, and Yogi's out. That is coming through. It's coming out of, and the safety car is deployed. So safety car is out, and that's good news for Dus Vessel. Good news indeed for him. I was going to say, what I was going to say just before that was, in these conditions, everyone's just kind of trying to get a feel for how they are, and by this time, lap 3, 4, you kind of know where the conditions are at. You're building confidence, you're building pace. So some people may be a little bit slower to start out, but as they get more comfortable with the conditions, I think we were seeing that with Gelato. He was beginning to get to grips a bit better with the conditions, but that progress is now thwarted, and the safety car is out for the first time today.
Yeah, and well, this is a chance for this vessel to come back into it, but also well, a restart and everyone bunched up again into turn one. So let's hope nobody misses breaking point now and go into deep there.
Yeah, absolutely. Like there's the 6 second gap between Charlie and Jamie, so it does bunch everyone up. And in these wet conditions, with the field, very possibly getting spread. I don't want to say it's a bad thing. Certainly that we have something that will help bunch the cars up a bit. But again, no one kind of jumping into the pits here to think about a change of tyre. So we're still on full wets. No one. Kermit's coming in though. Let's see what he does. And Tam is in too. And I feel like if you're in this position, you may as well. You can only lose a few more places.
Yeah, definitely. You can try something different, but I must say there's still quite some puddles. Yeah, Tam is just going for new full wets, and I didn't see what.
Same for same for Kermit as well. So not a bad shout. Some races do allow the no stop in wet conditions. I wouldn't call Bonds particularly aggressive on tyres, but certainly with a fresh set does no harm. And they lose. They lose places to Dus Vessel, who's just recently pitted himself. So, but that's not too bad of a trade-off, to be fair.
No, it isn't. And well, around this track, they can make it till the end if the weather doesn't change. So.
Yeah, having better tyres, like again, we've seen in the early stages here how important traction is. So if you can have it in a better abundance on fresher tyres, and there's only 4 laps, but every little helps in the wet.
Yeah, definitely, and it maybe on 4-lap tyres you don't necessarily feel it, but it can be something psychologically as well, just a better feeling when you're on fresh tyres.
Yeah, definitely. And look, for those 4 laps, it will mean very little right now. In fact, they're probably in the worst position, those who just pitted, because you've got to get up to temperature, and I don't know, just maybe a warn. Maybe as you said, at this stage, you're probably better off. But if our running's uninterrupted and you're getting to lap 23 and 24 and the such, then I feel like you will feel a bit more if you didn't come in. So we'll see if any, we'll see how it unfolds. If there's any need for a no stop, if it's possible, will we have intermediates beforehand? But it's just one of the few question marks that we have with 22 laps to go, including the one we're on.
So everyone is coming back now. Kermit and Tam on the back of these guys as well. So I think this is going to be the last lap. We're going to see the safety car. It's going to come in as Tom and Jamie switch positions. I'm not sure what happened there. But yeah, I think we're going to be racing next lap.
Yeah, I reckon so. So this will be a fairly short one. Just the 2 stops between Kermit and Tam. Fresh wets, and just Vessel obviously paid the lap before, and had Tom going off the track there, letting Jamie's gone through. So I don't know if that seemed like a genuine mistake. I'm not quite sure. I was just on board with this Vessel there. I'm not quite sure. As always, pronunciations on names, if they're wrong, apologies. I would assume it's a dust vessel, given. But hey, feel free to correct me. I'm not above that.
Yeah, I think there was a Dutch flag by next to his name, wasn't it? It's probably Dutch vessel. Ooh, whoa! What happened there? Das was going into the back of I believe it was Tom, pushing Tom off and ending his own race there. Wow.
Wow, didn't see that happen. I just looked on Tam as he was going through. So there's another one out, and I don't know what kind of damage Tom will have to the rear of the car, or what his situation is. Safety car is coming in at the end of this lap. There's another penalty for Charlie and Neymar coming together. So as they've been backed up here, they are few people making contact with each other, and you will have to serve that if there's another pit stop to be made. Let's see when Mellickers decides to go then. Very difficult restart in the wet here, Monza, in these conditions. Very, very difficult to get this right, and he's the back end one to get away. And Gelato's much more on top of it, and he's going to have a great chance to make a move. But he has to slip back into the slipstream, and I think Mellickers is going to survive here. Another move across. He's got to take the defensive line heading into turn 1. There's just enough space for Gelato as Neymar's trying to make a little move here as well, get involved. But Mellickers, I thought he'd lost that one. Certainly it looked dicey, but he's just about survived that.
Yeah, he did, but I think straight line speed saved him there because he had a horrible restart. He was, the car just digging to try to get some traction there, but in the end, he's still in first position there.
Tom's into the pits. I'm actually just looking at the. I've just looked at the Discord, and just Vessel saying that his brake pedal failed.
Oh.
On the safety car, so that would certainly explain that. Yeah, I think you saw it, so it might make more sense to you now.
Yeah, it was a really weird incident because he wasn't braking, so I wasn't on board to see telemetry. But it just makes sense that it was some kind of failure in his equipment.
That's a shame for both him and Tom, obviously, who has to pit. I don't know. I don't think rear wing damage can be fixed in. I don't believe so by pitting. So if he's got that damage, he's going to have it for the race, sadly. So have to hope for another safety car to get back into the equation here. And a damaged rear wing in these conditions, yeesh, that's going to be tough to live with.
Yeah, that's going to be really. I mean, around this track, you already run low downforce, and having even less downforce on your rear wheels with rear drives. Wow, that's a lot of rear drive cars. That's a terrible thing to have.
Speaking of rears, Mellickers got his full with Gelato, Neymar and Charlie in hot pursuit here. Definitely seems like there's a bit more pace to be had from Gelato, who seems to be a little bit stuck at this moment. Mellickers got that straight line speed that we saw at the restart, despite almost losing the back end. It's going to need a significantly better run out of one of these corners to try and make a move here.
I think it's not going to be long, and we're going to be seeing Tam making a move on Jamie. Jamie making a couple of mistakes there, and Tam just looking the fast of the two. But he has to find a place where he can actually overtake, and it's Jamie is using a lot of ERS, I think. So yeah.
Slips back in, can't do anything heading in towards Ascari. Difficult place to overtake, especially in the wet as well. Like, and in the dry, you really do need to be side by side and down the inside, but in the wet, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. Let's see Gelato's run coming out of the curve of Alboreto. Tighter line. Back end wanted Dandy, you can see him correcting it. And it's a good exit. And like, it's just within 2 tenths, but he sets a fast lap of the race, but they're both just using ERS, and there's enough straight line speed. Actually, you can see Melliger's actually pulling away slightly too, and he's still got like nearly 20% more ERS than Gelato, so it's comfortable.
Yeah, so Gelato really needs to try something in the corners there because his cornering speed is better. His he brakes a little bit later, but Malaga's straight line speed is just phenomenal, and that's all you need here. So as long as it keeps raining and DRS won't be activated, I think Malaga is safe, bar from him making a mistake of his own.
A long way to go though before this one is secure. Anything can happen in these conditions. It's funny, like I'm looking at the rear wing here, from the rear wing of Melliker's, and you'd be forgiven for thinking there's absolutely no rain, then you go back to the front-facing cat, like you go back to the regular onboard, and it's it's lashing. So, yeah, good stuff as always. Gelato not quite near enough. See if Tam any closer. Yeah, he's like about 6-7 tenths behind on the main straight. And the exit it's fine, but it's not closing anything on Jamie through that section. So, if anything, actually, Charlie's looking to have a go on Neymar here.
Yeah, same with Melgar and Gelato. Charlie, only the other way around. Charlie's straight line speed is better than Neymar's. Neymar was using his ERS and Charlie wasn't, and he was closing in. And as we're seeing now, closing in on Neymar in that slipstream using his ERS. Going side by side in Neymar squeezes him a little bit there, but does he dare to brake later? Still side by side here through these corners, and he has to slid in behind him. Or does he have a better exit? No, he doesn't. So Neymar keeps his position for now.
We got Gelato using a bit more ERS coming off of Curva Grande though, and he's going to shape himself a move heading to Delaraji. Will he send it from back here? No, he decides to tuck in. Probably the wise decision. Could have gone for the move. So good clean racing here towards the front, to be fair. There was good space left by Neymar and Charlie there. Good awareness, so that's some good racing up at the front here. And Gelato again, deciding to... Oh, and
Melliger with a big mistake.
With a custom heading out, if he may have gotten away with it, traction so much better. Oh, and Gelato trying to take advantage. You can see you can tell how excited he was to try and make that back, but his exuberance has cost him there, and Melliger survives for the time being. But that'll be encouraging though for Gelato, that a few cracks shown here and there that he could get through.
Yeah, and you can see the difference as well. Gelato just on board with him, how much space on the track he uses in those corners, really to the outside. I mean, it is tricky if you're not. As Tam finally passed, it's Jamie now, but Jamie's still on the inside there. Can he keep this position? Both putting on their ERS, but I think Tam made that move there, and only thing he needs to do now is keep in front of him, because Jamie is looking on the inside, and I've seen Jamie, if he has a wheel in, he doesn't back off. But here as well, giving each other space, and Tam in the end gets the position, and Jamie's struggling on the exit there.
Yeah, they both look like they were struggling a little bit there. Jamie more than Tam, but that was good racing there. To be fair, that was. It's hard to approximate these conditions as well, because it's when you're fighting side by side with someone, it's very easy to just get, you've kind of get carried away, or you just, it's tougher, I feel like, to race properly side by side in the wet, because there's so many things going through your mind. It's so easy to miss a braking point or get it wrong and make accidental contact.
Yeah, it definitely is, and we saw it with Gelato as well. Leaving enough space there, but once your opponent makes a mistake and you're a little bit too eager, if you're side by side or just right behind someone, as Charlie is out, and I believe that's true Ascari as well.
Yeah, the safety car is deployed, so that's good news for Tom to close up at least. But so that's one of the front-running contenders out of the equation, and another one for Ascari. Anything different now in lap 11? Will someone decide? Yes, they are going to come into the pits, but I think this will be for Nursev Wets. Gelato carries on, and so does Neymar. Tam comes in, Jamie carries on, but Tam has spent to the pit lane. Kermit carries on. I'm not sure what Tom will do. So I'd imagine this is for fresh wets. We'll see.
Yeah, I believe so. I don't think the rain eased off, so I believe they're all going on new full wets, and they do.
It's lashing in the pit lane. Like it, if other parts of the track doesn't look too bad, but it does seem like it's lashing in the pit lane. So from the race lead, then Melliger's pits down then to fifth. So they should go to the end. So of course, the likes of Kermit pitted under the last safety car. He's he's kind of the only one that has now, the first safety car. Tom then at the end of that safety car, of course, after that contact. But Gelato, Neymar, Jamie, they are still on the tyres that they started on. So we'll see. It'll be interesting to see now with Melligers if you can get by Kermit somewhat quickly. Be interested to see the pace difference at this time between a fresh wet and a race starting wet.
Yeah, and not only that, but I mean there is a pace difference as well. Malaga, one of the front runners this whole race, Tem, not showing bad pace as well, and then you've got Jamie and Kermit, who I don't want to call them slow, but they are a bit slower than Malaga and Tem. So interesting to see if Malaga is able to go past them quickly, or if Gelato, Neymar are going to be miles ahead when he does.
They're going to have to hope, Gelato and Neymar, that Jamie and Kermit can hold up Melligers as long as possible before he gets by. At least enough to break a few seconds and, at least not be in that direct tow. But we'll see how quickly Melligers can do it. It's the biggest challenge for him is to get through cleanly here. As Tam comes back into the pits, I assume to try and serve his penalty.
Yeah, I believe so. And that promotes Tom up one position.
He goes through. So, not a set of wets, actually a used set of wets. Actually, the set of wets I think he actually just pitted off of beforehand. So, but just clearly wanted to serve that penalty. And look, it's fair enough. Makes sense. It was a mistake, not a glitch, so you would have to live with it.
Yep.
So makes sense to get that one done, even if it does cost a few extra laps here with the tyres. But I tell you what, if the safety car didn't come in this lap, I'd be tempted to come back in and see if we can get the newer set of wets on.
That's actually a really, really cheeky strategy there.
I think he's too close, to be fair. I think the safety car will. I think there's not enough time. If it was a longer pit lane or a slower pit lane, perhaps. If it was France, it could be a decent shout. Very slow. Actually, I think that is the slowest pit lane, and combination with speed and length. But he's kind of almost at the back here anyway.
Yeah, France or Britain.
Yeah, good shout. Even though I'm pretty sure the actual real life speed limit is like 50 kilometers or 50 miles. And has been for a few years, because you look at the pit stops in the game and pit stops in real life, and they are not close. They're much quicker in real life because the pit lane is quicker. I'll tell you what though, very late call.
Ooh,
I was wondering if it was actually going to come in, but just before they get to the curve of Albaresh, it's going to be a late one, so let's see then. Gelato had the better start compared to Melliger's last time, but it's different story when it's you that has to set the pace. You can't go too quickly because the game will actually just cut him off because of the safety car not being quite in the pits yet. But he's tried to go full throttle and he still have the overspeed. Yeah. Neymar's going to be easily through here on the outside and the racing line. I think the game just really slowed him down. He wanted to go full throttle, but he's not going to be able to nail this one unless he can hang it down the inside. Neymar's left the space. And he is through in the end. Melliger's and Kermit side by side then as well. This is going to be an important one for Melliger's to get done quickly, and just pure. You can see the traction difference on the outside there. He actually might even have a chance to get Jamie as well if he should commit to his ERS here. Might not need to. Hooks to the right hand side. Oh, this is going to be a tight one. Jamie's going to leave the car in. Tough to slow down. A trip over the curb. A little bit of contact that forces Jamie a little bit on the gravel, and that allows Kermit through. I just think I don't think there's anything malicious in that. I think that's just racing, but just kind of tough at the same time. Is Tom actually going to try and go through as well?
Yeah, he does.
Inside.
Leaving just enough space there.
A drag race up to Ascari. Jamie in front for the time being. He should be able to stay there. Oh, he's hung around the outside as Tom misses.
Ooh.
Oh, they've made it through, to be fair. You don't
Wow.
always see that.
Yeah,
Good
great.
racing between the two in these conditions. You wouldn't get down the dry as much, but good racing there in the wet, good space. I didn't think that was going to end well, but it's not over yet. As Tom, you got Tam in close pursuit of this as well, actually. Let's go on board with him. Get a good view of this. Tom keeps it through. But this could be interesting heading down towards turn one. Lots of overspeed then. Oh, too much overspeed there from Tam. It almost into the back of Jamie. So that was a close call, and he just backs off, gives himself a little bit of space. As Jamie's going to go for a late. I actually don't think he wanted to go for this lunge, to be honest. I think he just broke too late, and he's going to allow Tom that one, and Tam goes through as well. I think he just left that one a little bit too late.
Yeah, yeah. I think he just felt the pressure of Tam behind, and yeah, was in his head busy with his battle with Tom. But now Tam, two corners, two positions up, and promoted himself to fifth because of the mistake of Jamie, and just well, all on his own, he overtook Tom there.
I feel bad for Jamie in the sense that he was in a good position. Then that one, going a little bit on the gravel there with Melligers, ended up costing him all those positions in the end. So that's unfortunate, just the way it worked out. But that was big for Melligers. He got those two moves done very, very quickly. Second one, it obviously went over the curve a little bit there, but he's now very much in pursuit of Gelato and Neymar, who I would say maybe can't get caught up too much fighting each other because there's a car with much fresher tyres behind. They kind of need to be, I guess, for each other in a sense right now.
Yeah, yeah, they just should slipstream each other because we've seen Melliger's straight line speed, and it was better than the straight line speed of Gelato and Neymar. But in the end, he won the race. But here Gelato comes with a, I want to say late move, but this is a really long straight. But he doesn't want to stay on that inside of Neymar there, and backs out of the move. But Melliger now, within a second.
Oh, Kermit's gone for the inters. I feel that, yeah, it was one of those where Gelato had to kind of just back out a bit and just take it a bit slower into the corner, and just as a result, he's just lost that time. So, even the 1 second range out. Interesting to see those inters, how they'll work. We'll have to see. Could be a very interesting one to monitor. I'm sure, the likes of, Jamie's just behind, he's just behind Tom here. Be looking at that gap behind and seeing if those inters are making any inroads on them. Right now, it's not quite looking that way, but and Tom's made a little mistake there coming out of the first Lesmo, but it's not enough for Jamie to come back through. But his run will be compromised. He's much, much closer, and it's easy on the throttle this time, but has to, in that moment, he just allows a little bit of ground to be made up. Oh, and a 3-second penalty for Melligers. That's not what he needs. But down the inside goes Jamie. On the inside, they've gone through safely here once. Can he do it again?
Oh. Ooh, Tom losing it.
Oh! That's unfortunate. I think he just lost the back end, to be fair. I don't think there was any contact there.
No, I didn't see any contact from my side either. But yeah, still sad to see someone going. And I think Kermit made the wrong decision. I was on board for a couple of corners with him. He doesn't have any turn in at all. At least on my eyes.
There's a big slowdown here at towards turn one here. That the safety car had the green flag. I have seen races that have done this before where it's kind of it glitches out, but I think they were going just cautiously slow there. There was a green flag on that safety car. I'm not seeing any penalties fly through at the moment. Kermit's coming into the pits. Jamie put on his fresh set of wets. Tam put on his old set of wets. Yeah, like you said, it wasn't. I would like to see a little bit more time just to see how this Inter's getting on, but clearly, he's actually gone for another set of Inters.
And this is really, I really like to see this. Good sportsmanship from Melligus there by letting Gelato through, because he overtook him in a weird way because of a safety car glitch.
Tam's going to have a drive-through penalty for speeding under the safety car. Of course, they are still under a delta before they catch back up to the safety car. Neymar hasn't picked it up yet, so Although I say that and he's going full throttle down the back straight here, so I'm not quite sure. But in that mix there at turn one, Neymar got ahead of Gelato, so we have seen a new change for the lead. In that again, it was very confusing. They all seem to they basically at a standstill essentially. He might have just got unlucky with that one, but they're still no. They could pit and come out, in
In
P3,
front of
P2,
Tom.
So I wonder what they'll do. Neymar he is
Going
pulling
in.
into the pits, and Gelato will follow him. And Melliger's too.
Oh, Melgar in as well.
Are they all switching to Inters then? Is this the time?
Really curious to see.
No, no set of full
New
wets. So Melliger's then is he would have had to put on
Yeah.
Inters. Okay. Because that would have been strange to come in on a five lap old set of wets and put on another set of wets. So that's Inters for him then. And I guess with the penalty he has, maybe he feels he has to do something a little bit different, just because he's got that 3 second penalty, and if there's a way to do it, then it might be this way. Tam is in too. Now Tam did just pit. Oh, he's retired.
Oh,
I'd, did he see? I wonder if he realised that you can't serve a drive-through under a. You can't serve a drive-through under a safety car. You have to wait until the green flags. You can't
yeah.
serve a drive-through or stop-go for that matter, if it was the case. Under a safety car, it has to be green flag racing. I wonder if he didn't realise that. It happens more often than you think. People just don't realise the rules. That a 5 second penalty you can serve, but a drive-through.
Oh, he's
no.
on the exit of the the pit lane. So maybe something happened with him exiting the pits and snap oversteer into the wall or something like that.
No, I was on board with him when he came into the pits and retired. It was just probably his ghost just coming off, I think.
Yeah, but even if he made that mistake, there were only 6 cars driving around, so there could have been some good points.
Yeah, that's it. Now there's 5. This intermediate switching, very interested to see how it gets on. More so with Melliger than Kermit, just because Kermit's running no assists, I believe.
Yeah, same. I thought seeing Kermit going through those corners without, really understeering through the corners. So I thought it was a little bit too early, but who knows? I mean, these guys have the feeling in their steering wheel, and we're just having to watch this all.
I feel like you were probably right when the safety car came. When he did pit originally, it probably was the wrong time. But just with his crossover, just with the safety car now, just buys you, plenty more minutes for any crossover to occur. And I guess it's still we'll find out pretty much. We'll find out really with Melliger's and versus Gelato and Neymar if it really is the time. If it is, you'll know pretty quickly. If not, you'll see him drop back and you'll see Jamie on the back of Melliger. So if it is wrong, it won't take long to find out.
Yeah.
As is the case usually in these conditions. So, lap 19, we'll head on. We should be racing by the end of this lap. Give us 8 laps of racing, hopefully. Nice that we have 5 cars, but at least we have some split strategy with those 5. So,
yeah, that's something exciting here to watch for. And I must say, still thinking it's a wrong call, but I hope Melliger proves me wrong there. But being in this race for 19 laps so far, we've lost Tom. Not gonna be any other name jokes. It's gonna be Charlie, Wessel, Yogi, Legenda, and Speed, who was the first one to drop as the safety car comes in, and Neymar is gonna be restarting this bunch here.
I think everyone it's 5 different teams, is it not? For the 5 drivers that are left.
Yeah, it is. It is.
What
So
are the odds?
only complete team that's out of the race is Tom and Charlie's.
Do you know what? That's the punishment for using a Red Bull livery and a preset livery. See, this game comes round to bite you. See, lack of creativity was punished. Anywho, safety car is peeling in there. Neymar is going to control this start for the first time under safety car. So yeah, actually go on board Melliger, see what the story is. Could be a late one for Neymar. And he gets away. Now, Melliger did have better straight line speed. We're going to see how this comes into play. And already Gelato going defensive. This should be good news for Neymar.
Yeah.
But you can see how quickly Melliger is reeling him in. Let's see what the grip is like on these tyres now. On the outside, space is left. Let's see on traction. Well, we should get a good idea on traction. Nice and easy. Little bit of wheel spin. Oh, he's struggling. You can see. Maybe we'll see how they get on. But just based on one corner, I would be a little worried if I was Melliger. See how Jamie how he gets on. We have De La Rogier.
Yeah, and you could see Melliger braking earlier, so he wasn't fully convinced as well about the traction on these tires. But maybe it's a temperature thing, and he will be coming back. But the traction didn't look good there for Melliger.
Yeah, we'll see how he gets on. I feel like he should be relatively. I think he should be optimistic. He's dropped a second back here, but if this weather shifts at all in the last 10 minutes for the towards Inters, then it does. I don't think it matters too much how much he drops in this initial phase. If the switch does happen later on, and to be honest, it looks pretty heavy rain in this part of the track, so I don't know. We'll have to see. But there's still time for things to unfold in his favour. But right now, you'd have to say with this heavy rain, wet might be the stronger tyre.
Yeah, most definitely. You can see it in the corner here. He was on a 1 second, and on the exit of the corner, he's just lost 4/10 in that corner alone. He will make something up on the straight because he's just got incredible straight line speed here. But look at Jamie, who was still really close behind Melliger as well.
Of course, Jamie doesn't have to do anything here. Melliger's got a 3-second penalty, so doesn't have to actually force a move. He just has to stick within that 3-second range. Although he might see the leaders up there and thinking that he should be close to that battle as well, and might not want to sit behind Melliger's too long. But he can't actually get through at the moment. He's dropping back a little bit through those high-speed sections. But he just has to stick within the 3 seconds, and he's got a podium. So. There are 7 laps to go.
And Gelato still really close to Neymar there, so curious to see. And maybe after the race as well. I mean, Neymar did go past Gelato with the weird safety car situation. So, but on track, really interesting to see if Neymar has the speed to stay in front of Gelato, or if Gelato can try something to regain that first position.
You see the gap between Gelato and Melliger's is now 2.3 seconds, so yeah, dropping time quickly here, but Jamie's just not close enough to make a move. How about Gelato? Is he close enough to slip within? Sets a fast lap of the race again, 30.8. Track is getting quicker, it seems. Marginally, but it's just there's not enough straight line speed advantage with the way the wings are configured here for Gelato to, at least on this lap, make a move past Neymar. He's got some solid straight line speed to keep Gelato at bay.
Oh, you can see in the braking zone there, it's Jamie coming really close. Melliger braking really early, so yeah, Jamie has to be careful not going into the back of Melliger and pick up any wing damage there.
Yeah, it would obviously blow any chance for his podium. I gets a little bit picks up a little bit of oversteer on the exit of De La Rogier there, and Melliger's a little bit of a slide. I think he may have gone to the grass slightly there, but then Jamie didn't have the cleanest run himself, so it's as you were, and it was the same story at the front here. I'll tell you what, Gelato's making up some time in this back straight. He's a bit more ERS, it seemed, than Neymar. Or just got a better run. It was definitely a little bit closer there. I can't help but wonder maybe if it's just a better run coming out of the second Lesmo, or just a bit more commitment if you can make up any time and some ERS going through Curva Grande possibly.
Yeah, and he actually did that, so but still seeing that straight line speed being almost the same, he needs a really good run out of this final corner, and he has slightly better run there, I believe. No, it's just Neymar not using ERS. Now he is, because he's seeing Gelato in his mirrors. Oof, going really defensive into the corner there by Neymar, but still no position changes.
Yeah, Gelato almost went deep himself into the back of him there, so they'll probably just take that one. Jamie's still stuck here behind Melgers. I think he would be quicker if he got through, but that's therein the problem. You can't get through. It's the difference isn't so big that Jamie's just able to just whiz by him. So it's, the track is there-ish. It's not there for Inters, but it's not so bad that Jamie's will have already gone through. So yeah, it's again tough, but again doesn't have to do anything here at the same time. Just stick within 3 seconds, and the laps are dwindling here.
Yeah, they are. So yeah, that's that. And Gelato now a bit closer to Neymar with a purple sector 2. At least on my screen. Not sure if it is in real life as well. But yeah, losing a little bit through Ascari as well, and still using the cars of last year here. So dirty air still is a thing in this game.
The wobble for Neymar actually coming out of the curve at Alboreto, and that should allow a much better run this time around for Gelato. It's much closer. Sets another fastest lap by just a tenth or so. He's got the toe. Neymar goes defensive. Is there enough to outbrake him? Oh, Neymar moves back across a bit. That was slightly naughty. And Gelato lives to fight another day, but I feel like Neymar probably moved a little bit into his line there. And Gelato might not be too happy with that. Maybe that might be one for the stewards to look at afterwards. That was a little dicey there.
Yeah, it was. It looked a little bit, as you said, like moving in the braking zone there, but luckily, because Gelato was on the grass with his left front tire, luckily he kept his car under control and he can, well, try again if he closes in.
Yeah, he's got a little bit to close in, just under a second. Jamie's still stuck here behind Melliger's. Gap is 4 seconds now, so yeah, I think we've shifted away. I can appreciate him trying, like with the penalty, probably have to try something different. Although you could argue that didn't have to, because instead of finishing 30, he's now finishing 4th at this moment. So, little wobble for Neymar, little bit of a wobble coming out of Ascari, not too much, but enough maybe to keep Gelato interested. And the difference now, you see, Gelato's had to use a bit more ERS to try and close up a bit here, and that advantage is now definitely in Neymar's hand.
Yeah, he is 20% more ERS for Neymar, and that's definitely gonna help you on the straights. And now Neymar setting a fastest lap, so that little as Melliger either made a mistake of his own or something else happened, but Melliger did spin there and is in last position now.
Yeah, I don't know if it was a reset to track or if he spun and getting close to the pit lane and spat him back out on track, but that's Jamie up into 3rd place then, so should be a comfortable one for Jamie now. He just has to see this out. He's 6 seconds or so behind, and he's got a gap of 3.6 in behind him, so he's in a good spot for a podium. Melgers will just have to content himself with P5 here and call today. You look at the fastest lap. It's 300ths in Neymar's favour there. So the pace is very similar between these two. It's gone a little bit back and forth. I wonder if we might have one more run for fastest lap, maybe with an ERS gambit on the last lap, perhaps, to use what's left.
Yeah, I think he's definitely gonna try that. I mean, these guys are just jiggling around between 5 and 8 tenths. Now Gelato with a really good run out of Ascari there, and Neymar using a little bit of his ERS to regain a couple of tenths. But yeah, on speed-wise, these guys are almost level.
And that's why it's been so difficult, because he hasn't been able to get back within that 2-3 tenth range. He goes another 30.7. He hasn't been able to get back into that kind of 2-3 tenth range that he was in before. And it just shows you, it might get close here now, but it just shows you like how similar these guys' paces in these conditions, that you can't quite make up that ground after that little moment they had in turn 1. You can see he's using a bit more of the ERS coming out of Curve Grande, and it was a brave thing to do, because it's easy to lose the back end on the throttle using that, and now with that little usage, he's now back right up the rear of Neymar now, to maybe take advantage of some tow if he gets a good run.
Yeah, but Neymar having more ERS to play with and only 1.5 laps laps left here for Gelato, so he needs to make a really brave move somewhere. But still, Neymar on the advantage ERS wise.
Here's the thing, you don't want to leave too much ERS left either for the last lap because there's only a certain amount you can use per lap. And there's no point in having ERS that you can't use when you've hit your limit for a lap. And around this track, easy to do so. So if he uses enough, yeah, he should be okay now. He's using a good bit down this straight. He used about 15 or so percent. So as long as he's got less than 50 or so, he should have should be more than enough to do a lap without hitting into the ERS allowance for one lap. And again, you can tell just trading fastest laps as we begin the final lap now. I think that last lap may have been the one for the fastest lap, to be fair. Difference actually 2/10 quicker was Gelato that time around. So using a bit more of his ERS, but we are on the last lap. And unless something dramatic happens here, I don't see this changing, but we shall see.
Look at this, these guys almost doing exactly the same, or apart from Gelato just keeping on his ERS longer because still he really wants to win this race here on track. But Neymar ERS advantage still a gap of 0.4 of a second. So if he can keep this up, he's going to be our very first well, TTML club winner of this small 6-race season.
Good exit for Neymar out of the second Lesmo. He should be safe so long. He's got plenty of ERS to play with as well, heading down this last straight as well. As long as he gets this Ascari right, he is in a good spot, you'd imagine, to fight anything that Gelato has. But I'll tell you what, he's going to need to use it because Gelato is right up the rear of Neymar, and you can just see him pulling away a bit as Gelato hits his allowance. Will he go for a lunge? Hard to lunge into this corner, really, given its characteristics, but Neymar, seems to have survived that last onslaught by Gelato. He's held on here, and he's going to take, as you say, the first win of TTML Club, just ahead of Gelato then. So a good tussle between those two, and they're very even, so you can split the difference between those two. Jamie finishes third then, Kermit will finish fourth, and Melikers then will finish in fifth place.
Yeah, so big up for Meliger for just keep on going here, and overall, even though we finished with 5 cars there, it was a fairly entertainable race.
Yeah, I've seen worse with more, for sure.
Yeah.
At least our top two were somewhat close. Bit contentious given what happened under the safety car. Oh no, don't give. No one needs any more copies of this game, please. Please no. Bit contentious with the safety car stuff, and then obviously Neymar moved a little bit, moved slightly, it seemed, heading into turn 1 there. Might be a point of contention, but look, I would say both were right there to win it, even if the way, slightly contentious. But look, he held on, he withstood that pressure, and I think whatever happens in the stewards room, if anything comes to it, both drivers would have deserved to win that race. They were that close.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that one. They were really pace-wise really similar, and both. I mean, it's hard when someone's behind you, but it's also hard to chase someone down there, and they both held their own.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, like they start 5th and 6th as well, so they're right there for the entire race. But it is Neymar who wins ahead of Gelato then in 2nd place. Jamie then picks up a podium from 8th place. Good result for him. And for Kermit for surviving that onslaught as well. From P11 he finishes 4th. And Melikers then rounded out our top 5 in our last of our finishers in 5th place. We lost, as you said, from this race, Tam, Tom, Charlie, Dus Vessel, Yogi, Legende and Speed. Although some of those feel like a long time ago at this stage.
It does. And well, I think that there's only one thing left for us. Who's your driver of the day?
Oh,
it's a hard one.
It is a hard one because either of those drivers, Gelato or Neymar, would be deserving. Jamie managed to survive and finish 3rd from 8th. And then Kermit on no assists, finishing 4th from 11th, keeping it clean, keeps just surviving. That's a tough one. I don't know. Do you have an idea yourself? Because I might need some sway on this one.
No, no. That's why I really snuck this one in to ask you first, because
Oh,
it is a really difficult to pick one driver of the day. But if I have to pick one, all the finishers just deserve it. I mean, Melliger tried something different, but was overall, I think, one of the faster guys on track today.
hmm.
Neymar and Gelato gave us some great battles there. I think I'm just gonna go with the easy one. Well, at least I always think it's the lazy choice to pick, and that's gonna be our race winner then.
So that would be Neymar. Kermit saying he had to use assists in the race. Not, I wouldn't.
Uh,
Yeah, for the wet conditions. Yeah, I don't blame you. Do you know what? Because I can't decide between Gelato and Neymar, and because there is that, I don't know what happened under the safety car. If, if it was an unfair change of position, possibly, or just something that the game did. I was going to say Jamie just to, just to just to go in between because I can make my mind up between Neymar and Gelato, and I don't know what happens properly under the safety car. So I'm just gonna cheap out and go neither and go Jamie from eighth place for a podium.
that's fair. That's fair. And to be honest, Jamie gave us some great battles as well, uh, with well showing respect for his opponents there in those battles.
And he lost. He also lost out a little bit when he was side by side with Meligers coming out of the De La Roche and like essentially lost 3 positions as a result, with Meligers needing to get by there. So, good recovery from that as well. I feel like so.
You know what? You persuade me to go with you. So
eh,
it's set in stone. It's Jamie as our driver of the day.
There you go. With apologies to Neymar and Gelato, it was too tight, so I had to go somewhere else. But I think that's going to do it for our first round of TTML Club. My thanks for Conti for joining me. We made something out of that in the end.
Yeah, well, thanks again for having me, and I'm looking forward to being here again next week.
Yeah, absolutely. And our next race next week is taking place at Brazil. So Monday, 8 p.m. Brazil. Hope we have a few more numbers, a few more teams possibly. But yeah, that's going to do it. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. And until next time.